Fabrizio dropped the "here we go," and Arsenal has wasted no time making statements. Boys, they have made two major moves in the time frame of a few weeks. Viktor Gyökeres from Sporting and Martín Zubimendi from Real Sociedad, both locked in, both fairly expensive, and both clearly part of a plan that screams, we're done being second. Or maybe not. As a non-Arsenal fan and seasoned football observer, I find myself equal parts skeptical and intrigued. Are these signings the missing pieces of Mikel Arteta's title puzzle? Welcome to another episode of No Ball IQ. Let's see if Arsenal can finally be something more than the bridesmaid. Let's start with Gyökeres. He just scored 54 goals in 52 appearances for Sporting, not inflated by weak cup ties, proper league and European fixtures. He's got 15 for Sweden too, which isn't exactly a football powerhouse, but that just makes the output more impressive. And here's what stands out. He's 27. No development curve, no give it time project. This is peak age football. If it clicks now. But scoring in Portugal doesn't guarantee anything. Plenty of strikers have come in with glowing numbers and looked completely lost once they hit England. The difference here is the profile. Gyökeres doesn't float around waiting for service. He's direct, aggressive. He presses high, runs at defenders, and has no issue throwing his body into duels. If Arsenal needed someone to unsettle rigid low blocks and bring a bit of edge to their front line, this might be their guy. What's more, and this is crucial, the timing of this move matters. Arsenal aren't bringing him in to compete with Nketiah or support Gabriel Jesus. He's here to lead the line. Full stop. This isn't one of those transfers where we all pretend that there's a battle for the number 9 spot. If you spend close to £70 million on a striker, you're planning to build around him. And frankly, it makes sense. Arsenal created more chances last season than they knew what to do with. Their front line had all the build-up, but lacked that one player willing to do the ugly stuff. To lunge at a near-post cross, to muscle past a center back, to take the simplest route to the goal instead of overplaying it. Gyökeres, at least on paper, ticked that box. Of course, the Premier League isn't exactly a friendly onboarding process. And we've seen Arsenal get excited before only to plateau when it really matters. But if you're looking at this with a clear head, this signing feels less like a gamble and more like plugging a very obvious hole.
Now on to Arsenal's other headline signing, Martín Zubimendi. The midfield piece Arteta's been subtly chasing for years is now finally dragged over the line. And for once, it doesn't feel like Arsenal are buying depth. They're buying clarity. Let's get the basics out of the way. 26 years old, Real Sociedad graduate, over 200 senior appearances, La Liga regular, and a quiet, unshakable presence on the pitch. He's not flashy. You're not going to get 20-yard screamers or outrageous Cruyff turns, but that's not the point. The point is this. Arsenal haven't had a natural single pivot since Partey had knees that worked, and for obvious reasons, you don't want to talk about the current ongoing legal issue regarding Partey, but the timing of this signing couldn't go wrong for Arsenal. Zubimendi fills that space with discipline, clean passing, and actual defensive coverage, and he does it without needing to be the loudest player on the pitch. Where Arsenal's midfield has sometimes looked like 3 players trying to do each other's jobs, Zubimendi simplifies everything. He holds, he recycles, he screens the back line, he doesn't overcomplicate, and most importantly, he lets Declan Rice stop pretending he's Sergio Busquets. I know a lot of Arsenal fans will hate me now, but boys, hear me out. Declan can be much more than what he has shown so far. With Zubimendi on the pitch, Rice can now step higher, press more, and even take on attacking roles in games where Arsenal dominates possession. Tactically, it opens up everything. Ødegaard can stay further up the pitch where he's dangerous. Rice can roam instead of sitting back as a fire extinguisher. And Arsenal doesn't have to shift their entire shape just because Jorginho can't cover ground, or Partey's out for whatever reason. Zubimendi isn't a superstar name, but he plays like someone who's already figured out his role to the minute. At Sociedad, he was the constant, always available, always neat in possession, always 2 steps ahead. That kind of reliability is gold, especially in a league where one mistake in midfield gets punished instantly. And it's worth noting, Liverpool were heavily linked. Klopp liked him, but Zubimendi chose Arsenal. Whether that's Arteta's pitch, the project, or just the promise of less rain, we don't know. But it says something that one of Spain's most efficient midfielders saw North London as the right next step. Still, like with Gyökeres, it all sounds good on paper. Premier League tempo is brutal. The press hits quicker, the spaces close faster. But if Zubimendi can survive that storm, Arsenal finally have someone to give their possession game actual balance. No reshuffling, no duct tape solutions, just a proper number 6 doing what a number 6 is meant.
Before we wrap, a quick note on Noni Madueke. Arsenal is reportedly interesting. No official here we go yet, but the link kind of makes sense. He's young, quick, left-footed, and cuts inside well. At Chelsea, he's shown flashes, but hasn't had a stable run. At Arsenal, he wouldn't be a starter, more like a squad piece who can rotate with Saka and offer something different off the bench. That's really what this phase of the window looks like for Arsenal. Fixing keyholes in the main squad and building depth. With Gyökeres, they've added a real striker. With Zubimendi, they've sorted the holding midfield. The next step is about making sure the drop-off in quality isn't steep when starters need rest. Whether it's Madueke or someone else, Arsenal are clearly working on that. No major surprises so far beyond that yet. Maybe one more midfielder. But overall, the plan seems clear. Fix key gaps, add cover, don't overcomplicate. Now, the big question. Is this enough to catch City? Probably not yet, but it moves them closer. Arsenal have been close for 2 years, and these signings at least target the reasons why they fell short. That's progress. No hype, no guarantees, but fewer excuses. Let's see what they do with that. That's all for today. Like the video and please subscribe to the channel. Remember, Noble IQ always brings you the real football talk you've been looking for. Peace out.